Have you ever felt like your brain simply would not slow down? Like you were thinking 5 steps ahead while everyone around you was still on step 1? Have you ever felt emotions so deeply that they almost physically hurt, or asked questions that made others look at you like you were being difficult? If any of that sounds familiar, psychology has something important to say to you today. Research tells us that only about 2% of people experience the world in the way we are about to describe. And science is beginning to prove that these individuals are not just smart, they are wired fundamentally differently. Studies in neuroscience show that the gifted brain has significantly greater white matter connectivity, meaning there are more neural pathways firing at once, more bridges between regions of the brain that most people never connect. According to researchers at the Davidson Institute, this creates a brain that does not just process information faster, it processes it deeper, pulling meaning from multiple directions simultaneously. One single thought does not stay alone. It immediately branches into 5, 10, 20 connected ideas. That is not distraction. That is a mind working exactly as it was built to work. Polish psychiatrist and psychologist Kazimierz Dabrowski spent decades studying this phenomenon and called it overexcitability. He identified 5 types: intellectual, emotional, imaginational, psychomotor, and sensual. Gifted individuals often carry several of these at once. What that means in real life is that everything hits harder. Ideas are more exciting. Pain is more painful. Joy is more joyful. Beauty is more breathtaking. Dabrowski believed this intensity was not a disorder. It was the raw material of a higher-level human being. Dr. James Webb, one of the most respected psychologists in the field of gifted research, found that gifted individuals are uniquely prone to something called existential depression, a deep sadness that comes not from personal tragedy, but from thinking too profoundly about the nature of life itself, about fairness, meaning, mortality, and the gap between what the world is and what it ought to be. Most people never go to those depths. Gifted minds cannot stay out of them, and because of that, they often carry a weight that others cannot see or understand. This is closely connected to what Dr. Linda Silverman, a pioneering psychologist and director of the Gifted Development Center, called asynchronous development. Gifted people are, quite literally, out of sync with their age group, with social norms, and sometimes even with themselves. Their intellect races ahead while their emotional world is still catching up. That inner conflict, that feeling of being too much and not enough at the same time, is not a personal failure. It is a documented psychological reality. And then there is perfectionism. Research published in peer-reviewed journals including the American Psychological Association confirms that gifted individuals set standards so impossibly high that even their greatest achievements feel incomplete. Dr. Linda Silverman described perfectionism as the most misunderstood aspect of the gifted personality. It is not vanity. It is a deep internal pull toward what could be, toward the version of themselves and their work that fully matches their vision. The tragedy is that this drive, which pushes them toward excellence, also makes them their own harshest critic. The constant questioning is real too. A gifted mind is not built for blind acceptance. It is wired for curiosity and truths. When gifted individuals push back on shallow explanations or question systems that do not make logical sense, they are not being rebellious for the sake of it. They are responding to an intellectual need as real and as undeniable as hunger. And all of these, the deep thinking, the intense feeling, the restless mind that refuses to shut off, even at 2 in the morning, it creates an experience of life that is extraordinarily rich, but also extraordinarily lonely. Psychologist Dr. Paula Prober describes it as living in a rainforest mind full of color, movement, and complexity, in a world that sometimes prefers a simple, quiet field.